Once again, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards have had some puzzling results, and I know that some people are going to say, but Jujutsu Kaisen is so good and Gojo is so sexy. Shut your mouth. What is wrong with you? Get some help. So let's go over the categories, comment on the nominees, and who I think should win for each category. Let's start off with the big one, the Anime of the Year, and as you may have deduced from my silly intro, no, I do not think it is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and personally I think that for the Anime of the Year 2023, if you pick something else other than Vinland Saga Season 2, then you are completely high out of your mind. Now, this is no harsh criticism on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Personally, I loved it. I thought it was an awesome season. However, it is more of an action shonen-esque anime, and I don't think it has the depth or the range that Vinland Saga Season 2 had. Vinland Saga Season 2 was perfect in almost everything. It had the character development, the drama, the emotional moments, even the action scenes. Vinland Saga, it's very, very hard to argue against it. And yes, there was a lot of Sakuga and cool fights in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. However, I don't think it has enough to topple over Vinland Saga from its rightful throne. As far as the other nominees go, I don't have any specific problem with them. They're fine. I do think Oshinoko has a strong case for Anime of the Year for its own specific strengths. However, as I said, Vinland Saga is a clear cut above everything else that came out in the year of 2023. Now, for Best Continuing Series, the winner that Crunchyroll proposed was One Piece, and listen guys, One Piece has been going on for like what, over 20 years now. Once again, I don't make the rules for these awards, but I think it is very silly, perhaps even unfair, to even consider One Piece to be in the same ballot as all of these other anime, so I'll just put that out there. Then I don't think that Demon Slayer deserves the nomination for Best Continuing Series, as this new season was very derivative of the previous one, and dare I say even a bit worse, as I thought personally that the villains weren't as compelling. I also have to mention that To Your Eternity and Bleach are strong candidates for this category as well. I will say I would perhaps, if we have to stick with the 6 nominees, I would take out Demon Slayer and put To Your Eternity Season 2, as I think this new season of To Your Eternity did more for the series than this new season of Kimetsu no Yaiba. As far as my actual pick, it depends on what we're actually evaluating here. According to Crunchyroll's website, Best Continuing Series, sustaining excellence is no small feat, particularly when it comes to anime. This category celebrates the shows that hook audiences with their absorbing storylines, compelling characters, and attention-grabbing artwork. So I have to pick the one that I think differentiates itself the most among all of the seasons, the new season that does the most for its series as a whole. And yes, it will perhaps come as no surprise that my pick is once again Vinland Saga Season 2, because I just think that it's not easy to make such a tone shift in an anime. A lot of people were expecting a lot of violence and fighting, much like in Vinland Saga Season 1. This new season was much more character driven, much more dialogue driven, and I think it did an excellent job not only at progressing the story forward and gripping the viewer, while doing a very, very different tone shift. So it deserves my kudos for that, and it is, once again, my best continuing series. For Best New Series, there is a nominee that immediately stands out to me, and I don't know what is this collective amnesia where the anime community likes to pretend that the first episode of Zom 100 is the entire series and that it is representative of the quality of the entire series, because it's just not. And I don't hate Zom 100, but the truth is Zom 100 is mid. It's a mid anime. It's middle of the pack. It's not super bad. It's also not excellent. It's just an entertaining middle of the pack anime, and I don't think it should be nominated for such a category. Taking out Zom 100, I would put in Blue Lock, which, while it did not have the best animation, neither did Zom 100 after the first few episodes, it was still very entertaining. Once again, I don't know if it counts because it technically started airing in 2022, although one of its cours was in winter 2023. Still, if it does count, then I would consider Blue Lock for this category, mostly because it was a very hype. It did something different with the Battle Royale and sports genre by literally combining the two, and I think it drew in a lot of casual viewers, which is always a testament to the quality of the anime. For the sake of honesty, I do have to mention that I did not watch Heavenly Delusion or Bocce the Rock. Now that I have said that, my personal pick for best new series is Oshinoko. While I did enjoy Chainsaw Man, I thought that Oshinoko was significantly better at gripping the viewer and having a more interesting storyline. Chainsaw Man was a bit too chaotic for my tastes, and Jigokuraku, while still very good, I think the middle dragged a bit. As an overall package, I think Oshinoko was the best new series to come out in the year of 2023. For Best Character Design, Crunchyroll once again awarded Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and I do not agree with that, so give that prize back. Just kidding. While I do like Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2's character designs, Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole has nice character designs, I do not think they are the flashiest or the most elaborate or just simply the best. If we are being honest, Jujutsu Kaisen does have a lot of student characters where they wear the standard black uniform, and it's not very different or appealing as an overall sense. It has also a character that is a literal panda, so I do like most of the characters, but I don't think that it should be awarded for character design. It's just not a category in which, in my opinion, Jujutsu Kaisen really stands out. For Kimetsu no Yaiba, I do think its character designs should not be particularly highlighted or awarded for this specific season, especially for the villains. I think both in terms of story and character designs, these upper moons are probably the worst of the upper moons, so yeah, it's just not taking home the prize for me. I will say the most imaginative character designs would probably go to either Chainsaw Man or Jigokuraku. Probably Chainsaw Man edges it out a little bit. I do think Oshinoko has the crispest and perhaps most stylish character designs. If I was going just off of these Crunchyroll nominees, I would probably award it to Oshinoko, but to me, the true winner is not on this list. Because to me, the true winner of Best Character Designs for 2023 is an anime that maybe the judges just forgot it existed because it's a long-running anime that just had a new season, and of course I'm talking about Bleach. The character designs in Bleach are just so good. They're so crisp, they're so stylish, they're so drippy. It's just, the characters look so good. I very much wish for the author to do something else besides just Bleach and Burn the Witch, because I think he is so talented at drawing characters. And now some of you will say, haha, I catch your hypocrisy, because you were saying about the uniforms in Jujutsu Kaisen, but the characters in Bleach also wear a sort of standardized clothing. And I will say, sure, the Shinigamis all wear the Shinigami robe, and the Sternritter all wear that white uniform, but I will say they are much more individualistic and much more flashy and show a lot more personality at an individual level than any character in Jujutsu Kaisen. If I took any Bleach character, the relevant ones obviously, the captains, sub-captains, and the Sternritter, and if I, for example, just hit their head, if I looked at them from the shoulders down, even though they're all wearing the same standard uniform, I would still be able to tell who is who. The characters are just very stylish and they're very easy to identify at an individual level. To me, while it can be sort of considered cheating because it's a long-running anime, if I had to make a pick, I would choose Bleach. If it's just from this list, and if I have to ignore Bleach because it's an older anime, then I would pick Oshinoko. For Best Cinematography, I will say I agree. I think it's Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. It had some beautiful, beautiful shots, especially I'm thinking about the fight in the bathroom. I love that fight so much. It was so well executed. It had such good moments. I'm thinking also of a perhaps a bit sadistic one, but when the camera pans through the hole on a character that I will not spoil in this video, but you know what I'm talking about if you watch Season 2, and yeah, I do agree that it's Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 for Best Cinematography. Obviously, I'm giving out this award if we are considering Shibuya arc as part of the whole package, which we will get to in a bit. For best comedy, I also agree that Spy Family was the best comedy of the last year. However, I do have some nitpicks. The first one is I thought the first cour was better and funnier than the second cour. So I don't know why they highlighted the second cour specifically, but if I had to choose between them for some weird reason, because let's just evaluate the series as a whole, please. But if I had to choose between them, I would choose the first one. Secondly, and I know that I'm probably sounding like a terrible hater, but I don't know what Zom 100 is doing here. Just no, okay? It was good, it was fine, but best comedy? No, just take it out. And instead, I would put Helk. I don't know why Helk isn't here. It was pretty funny. I still maintain that the first few episodes of Helk were some of the funniest episodes of last year. I do think the series did not manage to maintain that level of quality. However, just for its peaks, I think it deserves a nomination as Best Comedy, although the winner is still Spy Family. Best Fantasy, and this to me is where it starts getting really tricky because I don't know quite what we're evaluating for. So let's look at Crunchyroll's totally helpful, totally not ChatGPT description of this genre. Best Fantasy is all about imagination, creativity, and a bit of magic. These shows don't just take us to other worlds, they craft deep, original universes full of mythical creatures where even the smallest detail is fueled by ideas that previously were unthought of. So for this category in particular, let's try to go nominee by nominee and go from there. First of all, I did not watch the sequels to either Ranking of Kings or Ancient Magus Bride. I did watch the first season of both of these anime. If it was as good as the first one, I will say that Ancient Magus Bride is probably a worthy contender. However, because I did not watch it, I can't pick it. In my mind, this category is selecting for the most imaginative, most creative world, the one that is most whimsical, the one that inspires the most wonder, and for that reason I just don't agree with the winner and even pick at all of Demon Slayer. I don't think its world is that particularly imaginative, and I don't think it's that particularly creative, so I don't even agree with its nomination, much less its win. As for Mashle, Magic and Muscles, I do love Mashle. I think it's super funny. If I did not award the best comedy to Spy Family, I'd probably give it to Mashle. However, let's be very honest here. The world of Mashle is allegedly very similar to the world of Harry Potter, and that's all I will say. I cannot give imagination and creativity points to Mashle. I just can't with good faith, and you understand why, okay? I love Mashle, but just no, take it out of this category as well. It does not deserve its nomination. Up next, Mushoku Tensei. For those of you that have watched my videos, you know my opinions about Mushoku Tensei. I did not like this second season at all, and I don't really like Mushoku Tensei. However, I am fair and can be unbiased in many cases, and this is one of them. And for Best Fantasy, if I was considering season 1, I think it would be a clear-cut winner. However, for season 2, I just don't think it deserves that award. This season was much more character-driven and story-driven, and I don't think it explored much of the world, if at all, and what it did with it, I don't agree or like. I think the Ranoa Magic University had a lot of potential that was a bit wasted. I don't like what they did with the world building in this season, and I don't think it's deserving of the win. As for my own personal nominations, I will say To Your Eternity Season 2 I think is a worthy contender. I don't know if it can be nominated for this because technically it started airing in 2022, but it is nominated for Best Drama, so I'm assuming it can. So To Your Eternity Season 2 is a worthy contender for Best Fantasy, and also, technically speaking, there were episodes of JoJo Stone Ocean that did air in Japan in the year of 2023, so I don't know if it's cheating, I don't know if I can put it here on the list as well, but if I can, then it's also a worthy contender. So I won't say that JoJo is eligible just because it feels like cheating. It mostly aired in 2022, whatever. Between To Your Eternity Season 2 and Jigokuraku, I will say that Jigokuraku, in my opinion, slightly edges it out as the best fantasy. I think it has a very creative world, especially the villains. The whole story of the island is very intriguing, and so my best fantasy of 2023 is Jigokuraku. Best Drama. To me, this is also a very tight category. I was about to slap a baby deer in the face before I realized that because of the time range, I cannot nominate Pluto, which is a shame. It would also be a very worthy contender, but out of all of these, let's look into them. My Happy Marriage is very melodramatic and a bit too soapy for me, but I get what they were going for. I think its nomination is warranted, even if to me personally I would never give it the win. So because once again I don't quite know what I'm evaluating for, let's go to Crunchyroll's very useful description. Best drama. These anime convey something essential about the human experience. Their mastery of building and relieving tension sets fans on the edge of their seats, feeling all their feelings and compelling them to invest deeply in the characters and their stories. From this description, and taking into consideration that I did not like the ending of Attack on Titan, I think it's a three-way race between Oshinoko, Vinland Saga, and Mob Psycho Season 3. I wouldn't be mad with any of these three winning, to be honest, but me personally, I think it's between either Vinland Saga or Mob Psycho Season 3, and I think that Mob Psycho Season 3 edges it out. I just think the main character's character growth is phenomenal. Also, we have the very emotional moment with Pimple. I think it had a lot of high emotional moments in this season, and for that reason, I'm giving it to Mob Psycho Season 3. Let's go right into Best Main Character. Once again, I think it's extremely silly to put Luffy, the character that has over 20 years of stories and emotional attachment and character growth, in this category with all of the other characters. I just don't think it's fair, so I'll take him out for the sake of fairness. So to me, the best main character is a race between either Mob or Thorfinn, and as you may have realized by now, I really liked Vinland Saga, and so to me, Thorfinn just wins. Yay, Vinland Saga, another award. Best Supporting Character, and this is where things get tricky, because technically speaking, if we go by the time range that Crunchyroll set for their own awards, then for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, we are only counting Hidden Inventory, in which case Gojo shouldn't even be here, because for that flashback in particular, he is not a supporting character, he is in fact a main character. However, I don't think anyone looked at it that way, especially for Best Animation and Best Anime and all the other categories. I think everyone was considering the entirety of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, obviously including Shibuya Arc. So for supporting character, you have sort of two philosophies. You have either the supporting characters that are very flashy and perhaps even flamboyant and sort of overshadow the main character a lot of times. Gojo is a perfect example of this, but perhaps you also have Prince Peachy from To Your Eternity Season 2, who also exemplifies this earlier in the season. And then you have the supporting character that is very good at bouncing off your main character, and for that you have, for example, Einar from Vinland Saga or Kana Arima from Oshinoko. So depending on what you're going for, either presence on screen, perhaps even overshadowing your own main character, or actual supporting your main character, then you'll have different picks. If you're going for presence, it's Gojo by a mile. I don't think anyone even compares. If you're going by supporting, while I do think that Reigen is also a very good pick, I do think that Einar slightly edges it out, especially because it's hard for me to remember like what Reigen did specifically in Season 3. Like, I just think about Reigen and the series as a whole. I can specifically pinpoint his performance on the third season. So I'd be fine with any of these three winning. I do think it's an absolute travesty that Einar wasn't even nominated, which is just so silly. But yeah, I don't mind giving it to Gojo if you're going for flashiness. Otherwise, either Reigen or Einar, but sure, Gojo takes the prize or whatever. Now, for Best Anime Song, I will say to me it is a close race between Idol and Ao no Sumika, but to me, Idol wins. Moving on. Best Score, I didn't even look at the nominations, I just saw if Sawano won, and Sawano did win, so everything is right with the world. Moving on. Best Opening Sequence. I had watched all of these except the one for Heavenly Delusion, which I did watch before this video, and my first comment is, once again, and I know that I'm sounding like such a hater, but I don't know what Zom 100's opening is doing here. Like, it's a good opening, but nominated for Best Opening of the Year in the middle of all these heavy hitters? No, just take it out. Now, I do love Ao no Sumika. I think it's a great song. I love the opening as well. I think it's very good, but Best Opening of the Year? Are you high? Once again, I don't know why neither of Vinland Saga's openings are in here. Opening 3, I can understand. It has, although a very good song, it has a slower, not as elaborate animation, so sure. But why in the world is Vinland Saga Opening 4 not in here? It's just an absolute travesty and a mind-numbing decision. It's just stupid. It should be here. And to me, not only should the fourth opening of Vinland Saga be here, it should win, obviously, because to me it's a two-way race between the opening of Oshinoko and the opening of Vinland Saga, but to me the opening of Vinland Saga just has the perfect blend of both song and animation, the storytelling, the visual impact, the constant contrast between the scenes of fighting and the more introspective moments of the characters. It's just the perfect opening, the best opening by far of the last year, and it's not even nominated. And this one to me is one of the weirdest categories, because at least for best anime, Vinland Saga was nominated. For best opening, it's not even there. It's like, what? Best ending sequence, and once again there is a very iffy nomination, and no, for the first time it is not the ending of Zom 100, but the ending of Demon Slayer. The ending of Demon Slayer was made by the same singers that made the opening, and it seems like they just made a banger opening, very good, and then just phoned it in for the ending. The ending is nowhere near as good, and in terms of animation it's mostly just panning still shots, so I don't know why this is even here. It's not a worthy nomination. Just no. I do have to mention that the ending of Mushoku Tensei is very pretty. The song is okay, but the animation is soothing, and until you remember, of course, it's Mushoku Tensei, then everything falls apart. But as a standalone, I will say that the ending of Mushoku Tensei could perhaps be nominated. To me, the best ending sequence is between Color by Yama and obviously Mephisto by Queen Bee. I will say, as a song, Mephisto by Queen Bee 100 times. It's just by far my favorite song here. I love that song. I love the ending as well. However, this is not best ending song, this is best ending sequence. And the ending of Spy Family, Color by Yama, has a great animation, a great storytelling with the rotating shot. You get to see the family interactions, you get to see the characters presented, you get to see a day in the life of the family, and I think for storytelling purposes, it's just so good that I have to give it to Spy Family. I would not be mad if either Mephisto or Color by Yama won, but it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're going for strength of song, then Mephisto. If you're going by strength of animation and the more overall package, I would say, then Color by Yama. And this was it for me today, folks. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe and all the good stuff. Were my awards equally as trashy as the Crunchyroll Awards, or just a bit better? Leave it in the comments below, and always remember, you may have different opinions from your fellow humans. We are different people. We can have different opinions and think different things, but if you have a different opinion from mine, then you are wrong. Ciao!